is good to see the metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives of the President of the Republic gathered here from all parts of the country this morning. Although unfortunately not a full house. Out of the total of 216, 199 of you have so far been approved by your respective assemblies. I'm hopeful that the remaining 17 will join you very soon. To you gathered here who have made it, I congratulate you warmly on your nomination and subsequent approval. I wish you the best of luck and God's blessings in the discharge of your important duties, and hope that you justify the confidence that your assemblies and I have reposed in you. With God's guidance, I'm sure you will. This gathering is a crash course of an orientation towards the demands of the office of a metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executive for short. From the days of the colonial DC, through his flamboyant counterpart of the DC of the First Republic, to the present-day chief executive, this position in the administrative structure of the country has attracted considerable attention and scrutiny. This is for good reason. The chief executive has the most regular and direct impact on the lives of the people. You set the tone for the administration in your districts. That is why the Constitution, in Article 243, tells us that you preside over meetings of the Executive Committee of the Assembly. Further, you're responsible for the day-to-day performance of the executive and administrative functions of the Assembly, and you are the chief representative of the President in the locality. The people of Ghana spoke loudly and clearly on December 7 last year. Whether this cry for change will be truly reflected in the lives of the people will depend very much on what type of chief executive they get. The best efforts of the President of the Republic and the Ministers of State will be brought to naught if you in this room do not perform creditably. The people of Ghana will see and feel and know the change they voted for has truly arrived if and when their chief executive delivers on the promises of government. It starts, of course, with the attitude you adopt towards people. You can easily get caught up in the honorable and excellency game and begin to think that change has indeed come because you're now being called honorable or excellency, or because you're now riding in an eye-catching vehicle and you're living in the most imposing house in town. Chief executives, change will be measured in better sanitation and a more wholesome environment. People will know there's change when the quality of local schools improve. They will know there's change when there are jobs for young people. And they'll know there's change when officials come to work on time. The people in your districts, municipalities, and metropolises are not looking for a different set of people from the last set to lord it over them. They're not looking for a new set of people to jump the red lights and traffic queues instead of working to find solutions to the traffic jams for all of us. People will know there's been no change if a 3-unit classroom block is still built at exorbitant cost to the state, and if contractors are not being paid on time and businesses are suffering. Above all, people know there has been change when their chief executives are seen to be implementing the promises in the NPP manifesto. They will know change has come when you treat them with courtesy and humility as their servant. They will know change has come when the Galamsey menace has been defeated in your locality. The Constitution spells out clearly the process through which we would decentralize governance to the local level. Almost 25 years later, this remains very much work in progress. The instinct of the average person is still to look toward Accra for things that fall within the jurisdiction of the local authority. I'm expecting that you will be part of the team that finally brings decentralization to fruition. This would mean that the district assemblies build their capacities and are able to handle the responsibilities that have been devolved to them by law. It is a well-known fact that I belong in the group that has always advocated for the direct popular election of chief executives. It is now a manifesto commitment of the ruling NPP party, so you must be aware that it is going to be fulfilled. Indeed, the process for the amendment of the Constitution will soon be underway, which will make you the last batch of chief executives to be appointed under the current system. For those of you who will be interested in the forthcoming elections under the new system, your conduct and performance will determine whether you will earn the confidence of your electorate. I do not believe there is anything to fear in the direct election of chief executives. On the contrary, it should lead to a deepening of our democracy and better accountability. It is time to make it work. The theme for the orientation program, creating prosperity and equal opportunities for all through effective decentralization, reflects the vision of our government: change, an agenda for jobs, creating prosperity and equal opportunities for all. Chief executives, this is a good time to be in charge of districts, municipal and metropolitan areas. You have the opportunity to transform the local economy and preside over the creation of jobs for our people. The district is the target for all the programs we have set forth and are introducing to grow our economy. In our pursuit of aggressive industrialization and value addition to agricultural produce, the district is the focus in modernizing agriculture, improving production and efficiency, achieving food security, as well as profitability for our farmers. The Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program, IPEP, will be implemented at the constituency level, where the allocation of the equivalent of $1 million United States dollars annually will be used to finance capital expenditure for infrastructure and other facilities in the localities. Once established, the development authorities for the northern, middle, and coastal belts will serve as the primary executing agencies under IPEP to oversee the implementation of the $1 million One Constituency program. The One Village, One Dam policy initiative, like all the innovative introductions to the economy, are all very much local initiatives. I'm hoping that a genuine sense of fair competition will come into the operation of the districts. We should be able to see the difference in the quality of schools from one district to the other due to the quality of the supervision. We should be able to judge for ourselves quite soon what one district does with its $1 million and compare it with what another district does with theirs. It is up to you in this hall to make the One District, One Factory initiative a success. The challenge is very much for the deprived areas to take advantage of these programs to bring change to your districts. You have the opportunity to change your districts from places where people move from to places where people move to. Let your factories thrive, and you will soon discover that people will move to your districts instead of the current position where all our young and strong people move away to Accra and Kumasi. While a lot of funds will be flowing into the districts, and every attempt will be made to get the common fund allocations to you regularly and on time, I urge you to work on internally generated funds. You will not make the progress you should if your development program is solely dependent on the relatively meager sums you get from the Common Fund allocation. And please, apply your district assembly common fund judiciously towards the execution of planned and approved projects. It is not for recurrent expenditure and should not be misused or abused. It is a good idea quickly to get your assemblies to restructure your financial operational system and targets to take advantage of the new initiatives introduced by government to promote accelerated economic growth. There is a lot of work to be done to make our assemblies work as they are expected to do. You should start by making sure you acquaint yourself with all the relevant laws and work in close collaboration with your assemblies, traditional authorities, opinion leaders, religious leaders, and other key stakeholders in your localities. The substructures of the MMDAs are crying out to be enhanced and acknowledged. Help build their capacity and allocate resources to allow them to play their proper roles in the local governance system. The other important role you play is that of chair of the District Security Committee. You do not need me to tell you that your most important function is to ensure peace and law and order in your districts. All our plans will only work if there is peace. I advise you to be careful and tactful in managing issues of intelligence and security. Chief Executives, experience has taught us that a lot of the tension that arises in the districts and frustrates the work of government comes from the at times fractious relationship between members of parliament and chief executives. Please avoid such conflicts and let the MPs get their share of the common fund timeously. I do not and cannot and nor want to issue any edicts on anybody's political ambitions. It is enough to point out that many of the tensions between chief executives and MPs also start when chief executives want to run for parliament. I mentioned it as something worth keeping in mind as a possible source of trouble. Also, do not overlook one important historical fact. The misfortunes of the ruling parties in the general elections of 2000, 2008, and 2016 had a lot to do with the collapse in relations between chief executives and MPs of the then ruling parties. I believe that the new paradigm of effective governance demands maximum cooperation between chief executive, MPs, and the new kids on the block, the officials of the development authorities. The closer and more sincere will be the cooperation, the greater and more extensive will be the development. I must remind you that whereas the Minister for Local Government, in the person of the resourceful and energetic Hajia Halima Mahama MP, who enjoys my full confidence, has oversight responsibility for decentralization, implementation, and local government, regional ministers are required to monitor and evaluate your performance and submit periodic reports to the President. I expect you to accord regional ministers all their due respect, as they are the President's representatives in the regions. There is furthermore a new layer of accountability within government, the new Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, which has a broad remit to oversee what is going on in the entire government machinery and make recommendations to the President on its improvement. A final word about your personal integrity. The nation is looking for a higher standard of conduct from its current public officials than in the recent past. You, like all of us in central and regional government, have to live up to that expectation. It begins with the declaration of your assets as demanded by the Public Office Holders, Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act, 1998, Act 550, Schedule 1V. The Office of the President will submit all your names to the Auditor General by Monday, 10th July. Whereafter, you will be expected within 2 weeks to file your assets declaration forms. That exercise will be monitored. It is important that the Ghanaian people understand that for us, public service is exactly that, public service, not personal gain. As chief executives, you have my confidence and trust. The people of Ghana have put their hopes in us. We dare not betray their trust. This is a sacred opportunity. Join me to make this nation the happy and prosperous place it should be. I wish you a successful program and traveling mercies back to your localities. Thank you, and may God bless us all in our homeland Ghana and make our great and strong.